Um, One of the fundamental things that we'll talk about when we talk about Vedanta and we talk about the science and how the two work together is first we'll go over the basics of Vedanta and then of course we go over how modern science and Vedanta they kind of match, where a lot of the concepts, the core concepts of Vedanta today are validated, strongly validated by science. And I don't mean theoretical validation, I mean experimental validation. That is what we are going to talk about, right? So I'll start with a quotation from Swami Vivekananda. It is very pertinent to any study of Vedanta. So I'll specifically talk about the Advaita Vedanta. And I'll come into what Advaita stands for in this context, or in any context for that matter. Do not believe a thing because you have read about in a book. Do not believe a thing because another man, any man, has said it was true. Do not believe in words because they are hallowed in by tradition. Find out the truth for yourself. Reason it out. That is realization. So the key thing, when I first knew about Vedanta, I was in class 11, I started reading the books of Swami Vivekananda. The concepts, the statements were so bold and so life-turning that it kind of messed up with my head. In Bengali we say, indigestion or bodhajam. And I sort of lost all interest in studies. I mean, why would I do any studies? It is totally meaningless in this context. And then, after many years now, I can see where these two things match together. Why people can live a normal life and yet understands or go in the path of understanding of what Vedanta is. But it was a very interesting experience. So there is the thing is, today what we are going to talk about is we are not going to talk about a lot of random keywords and concepts. We'll talk about in simple terms that we all can understand, we can associate with. And if I'm saying something that you want clarifications or you have any additional questions, obviously please ask. So when we say Vedant, what we mean is Ant of Ved, right? Vedant is a portion of Ved, but so Ant here means couple of things. It is the last portion of the Ved which was taught to the people in the jungles, Aranyak portion of the Ved. It is also the summary, the culmination of Ved, the culmination of the knowledge that is contained in the Ved, right? So Ved is, if you look at it, it's essentially two parts. There are many ways of slicing and dicing it. One is for normal people, get into the path of spirituality. So there are some customs, there are some processes you follow, and if you kind of look through this whole process, you will realize there is one good reason why that segment is there, to help us focus our mind. In any profession you are there, and I'm sure people here are in different profession, you have seen success comes with the ability to focus the mind. And we'll see, throughout my life I have been taught, Monosangyog karo, focus your mind, that's what I have been told. And I have come to realize it isn't, what we really mean by focusing is our mind is to actually eliminate thoughts from our mind. So mind is not what helps us, but mind is what actually prevents us from accomplishing anything. It is kind of the disturbing kid in the neighborhood, He is a Dennis the Menace in your neighborhood. And we'll kind of get more into the thing. So we'll start with, let's start with the core concepts, very core concepts. So there is a saying that there are 4 Mahavakyas, great sayings of Ved. From all the 4 Ved, one small phrase has been picked up, saying that this is, this kind of summarizes what is in Ved. So the Mahavakyas, and I'm not going to go into full details of them, and this is probably the only time that I'll go into some Sanskrit. It's just very small here. And Prajnanam Brahma, that's what they say. I am Atma Brahma. See, all the 4 Mahavakyas, they actually say the same thing. Pragya. What's Pragya? Pragya has been differently defined as consciousness. The the bearer of intelligence. So that which you are, that is Brahma. I am Atma Brahma. I am Brahma. So what is Brahma? Brahma is just a word for us, right? Brahma is just a word. What is Brahma? Brahma is, I'm getting into definition of Brahma later on. Tat am ashi. Tumi shei. So, I'm sorry, I got it in Bengali. You are that. Thou art that. That's what we say, right? Tat am ashi. So you see, all these three, what we have talked, we are talking about the same thing. We are talking about the same thing in different languages. Now, there are two distinct school of thoughts here that I'll briefly touch upon before moving into. And the final is, of course, Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahma.
The present